Good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, July 27th, 2023. The time is 9:37 a.m. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Alameda County Lead Poisoning Prevention Program Joint Powers Authority. We are located at Emeryville City Hall, 1333 Park Avenue in Emeryville, California. Members of the public may also join remotely via the teleconference option provided for at the top of the agenda. Begin by asking if the secretary for the board would take the roll.
Director Hardy? Here. Director Miley? Director Vela? Director Wenrock? Present. Director Gallo?
Present.
Director Bowders?
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Now is the time for public comment. Directors, alternate staff, or other members of the public who wish to address the board for an item on this agenda will have 2 minutes to do so. Did we receive any written comments for this meeting?
No, we do not.
Okay, there are no members present seeking public comment. Public comment is now closed. We'll turn to the consent calendar. Item 3.1. Is there any member who wishes to discuss or change the minutes? Seeing and hearing none, is there any public comment on the minutes? Seeing and hearing none, is there a member who wishes to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Gallo, a second by Wingraf to approve item 3.1. Please call the roll.
Director Hardy?
Aye.
Hardy, aye. Director Miley? Director Vela? Director Wenrock?
Yes.
Wenrock, aye. Director Gallo?
Aye.
Gallo, aye. Director Bowders?
Aye.
Bowders, aye.
And the motion carries. The minutes are approved. Move to item 4. This is the director's report. Director Brooks.
Good morning, board, directors. Let's see here. We have a slide presentation that we're going to present to you as part of the director's report. Here we go. It's coming up now. And let's see if we can move on to the first slide here. I want to give you an update on the results of last month's June Healthy Homes Awareness Month. That was a national recognition month created by the HUD Office of Lead Hazard Control and Healthy Homes. We did some really good things here, and a lot of it that I take pride in sharing with you comes from the fact that our education engagement team did some great work, but it was not without the help of this board. Several months ago, I know Johnny Garcia did a presentation to the JPA on some of the social media outreach efforts that we were going to initiate, and this board gave us some really good advice, and I'm going to read some quotes from him as far as the reporting on last month's Healthy Homes Awareness Month activities, and I hope you can see yourselves in terms of some of the things that is reported here with regards to the advice that you gave to us to improve on our social media outreach. So it says here for the month of June, this landing page that you see there on the screen accounted for nearly 20% of all of our website page views, with over 1,100 views, which is over twice the amount that our website homepage received for the month. We participated in the live Twitter chat for Healthy Homes Month held by the National Center for Healthy Housing. We had 4 weekly email blasts sent for Healthy Homes Month that led to over 17,000 open emails and 878 clicks on the links in those emails. And we had multiple in-person events throughout the month. Many of these activities led to people scanning our QR codes and completing our online forms. One of those forms was for a HEPA filter vacuum cleaner giveaway, which had 121 people entered. We had ads on local news sites. We ran targeted video ads in priority neighborhoods, which were viewed over 126,000 times. You can go to the next slide here, which is a continuation of that report. Oakland A's. On social media, our numbers were at an all-time high. We had over 1,300 video views on our TikTok, We were the nonprofit partner for the Oakland A's on June 29th, and they posted it on all of their media platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. You can see we were also recognized by them on their scoreboard during the game against the Yankees, which unfortunately they lost. And then other community partners were there for the game, and they also shared information about us, as you can see in that slide. Cece Moella, who is the founder of the National Organization Women Leaders in Code Enforcement, was at the game and shared some links, also took some pictures of the education engagement team members that were there at the Oakland A's game that day. Again, I hope you can see yourselves in terms of the results of our outreach efforts. Any questions?
Are there any questions for this part of the report? Seeing none.
Okay, next slide. Speaking of Oakland A's, let's focus on Oakland. And the lead paint settlement talks, which resumed yesterday. You may recall this slide that was presented to the JPA back September 2021 by City of Oakland staff that were part of their negotiations team. Darlene Flynn, Maribel Tobias, and Bill Gilchrist. Also, Latonda Simmons was part of that presentation to you, which led to the agreement that was reached. Next slide, which summarized here, basically, back in 2021, we reached an agreement with Oakland where of the $23 million of the settlement funds, 20% was given to Oakland immediately. That's $4.7 million in order for them to begin to carry out some of their priorities that was based on the race and equity impact analysis report that they presented to the JPA back in September. Part of that 20% that was given to them was to be used to bring on some consultants to help them to develop their plan for working with us to spend the other 40% of the settlement dollars that are to be spent in Oakland through a collaborative effort with the Healthy Homes Department. And then 40% was immediately given to Alameda County to provide various services within Alameda County, all of the incorporated cities and the unincorporated county. That became known as the Lead Safe Alameda County Plan, excluding Oakland, because again, the idea here is to begin meeting with Oakland to discuss how 40% of those funds are to be spent in Oakland, and it's to be based on again, the race and equity impact analysis assessment. Next slide, please. Which identifies what the City of Oakland sees as some of their priorities for use of the funds. The Oakland team has changed. That slide that identified Darlene, Maribel, and Bill Gilchrist that is no longer their negotiations team. Their negotiations team now is Caleb Smith, program analyst in housing and community development, Marshall Huggins, administrative analyst for housing and community development, Larry Gallegos, who is the redevelopment program manager in economic and workforce development, and Marianne Leshin, who is a contract services employee in housing and community development, who has a history in terms of the JPA. She was with the City of Oakland when we first formed the JPA and participated in putting together the JPA. In our meeting yesterday, since it was the first meeting in 2 years, and it is a new negotiations team, we spent the hour basically providing them with information about the Healthy Homes Department, our history, what services we provide, how we're using the settlement funds, the 40% in the county, excluding Oakland, and from there we answered questions The idea now is to have a follow-up meeting where we can hear more from Oakland as far as what they would like to see in terms of how that 40% of the funds will be used. I'm happy to report that they've indicated in regards to the 20% that was given to them 2 years ago, they have moved forward on their priority equity element, the proactive rental inspection program. I'm being told that they plan to implement that proactive rental inspection program sometime in either late 2023 or early 24. It's very important that that be done in our view, not only because it was the recommendation that came out of their race and equity impact analysis, but also in terms of our own experiences with providing services in the unincorporated portion of the county. We recently met with members of the National Association of Minority Contractors, representatives from the Nelson Mandela Training Center, and a number of other small businesses that are in the lead paint remediation industry. We met with them because they were having concerns about job opportunities, workforce development in lead paint remediation work. In fact, I attended a meeting that they were having with Oakland City Council member Carol Fife, and learned a lot from that meeting in terms of their concerns. And I shared with them the challenges in terms of providing work opportunities for minority contractors. Really boils down to a simple case of supply and demand. Next slide, please. What we're experiencing so far in terms of in the unincorporated county, where we received a couple of $1 million to do minor home repairs. This is American Rescue Plan Act money, ARPA money, that we have to provide minor home repairs and rental units. We are finding that as much as we've been able to do in terms of outreach and education, which we think we've been doing a good job, as you can see in those slides I presented earlier, we're reaching the landlord community, but they're just not buying what we're selling. That's the bottom line. They don't seem to be interested in taking free money. I had one landlord even speak honestly with me and say, well, why should we help you? We're suing the county for the eviction moratorium. During that time, we made the argument that the moratorium kept us from being able to collect rents and maintain properties and do repairs. And so why would we want to go to court and then say, Alameda County, you hurt us, but now you're making us whole again. So no, we think we can get more money from a lawsuit than by having you give us these ARPA funds to make repairs. So that's what we're up against in terms of lead paint settlement dollars as well. I explained to the representatives for the National Association of Minority Contractors, if landlords are not willing to accept settlement dollars, then there's no contracts to give you. And so that's why I think it's extremely important that Oakland follow through on their proactive rental inspection program, because I really believe that it's going to require inspections of properties, identifying the lead paint hazards, writing up notices of violations, and then telling the landlords, you gotta get this fixed either out of your own pocket, or we do have these other dollars available through the lead paint settlement. Just to kind of emphasize that, the last slide I want to show you is a survey that we did in the unincorporated area back in 2016. And you can see in the graphs there that basically what we were learning from the tenants that we were talking to is that there's a lot of repairs that need to be done, anywhere from mold to lead paint. But their landlords are not making the repairs. And in terms of, are you reporting it to the landlords? The response is no, we're basically afraid to do that because we're afraid of retaliatory evictions. We're afraid of rent increases. I attended a webinar yesterday put on by East Bay Housing Organizations and My Eden Voice. They've just done a brand new survey, over 400 residents in the Ashland, Cherryland, Hayward area. Their graphs are looking even more dim than these that we did in 2016. It seems like conditions have gotten even worse in terms of tenant fears. Director Vela, I believe that's.
Yes, question.
Larry, are we checking to see kind of, I see the fear of rent increase, and obviously there's different requirements in each jurisdiction. Like the CIP process in Alameda is fairly complex, and we don't typically grant them unless there's kind of certain things in place and the project meets certain thresholds. So are we doing, as we're doing kind of the work to actually get the word out, are we also including information on like, here are the tenants' rights in the area, or here's who you can contact relative to that?
Yes, that's correct. We are sharing information, and we are partnering with organizations like East Bay Housing Organization, My Eden Voice, Casa Justa, other tenants' rights groups to try to get that message out to people.
I'm wondering if there's a way, because I also know that there's, a lot of jurisdictions also fund to have, access to attorneys, that sort of thing. If there's a way to also add that information so that tenants can perhaps talk, sometimes they don't feel as comfortable talking to staff on it, but they have access to an attorney and somebody in their native language, that sort of thing, that typically helps in terms of sharing information and allowing that. So I guess it's a twofold question of not just partnering with these folks and sending kind of a piece of information, but even trying to allow for that sort of proactive follow-up. Just curious.
Yes, I believe we can explore doing more in that area because definitely there is that need. And in terms of, but for the unincorporated county, of course, we see a great need for tenant protections similar to what Oakland and Berkeley have implemented. I was sharing at that meeting with the council member Fife that I really believe that Oakland is in a position to perform better with the lead settlement dollars than we are, to be quite honest, because they do have some tenant protections in place, whereas in unincorporated county, we have none. And so that just feeds into the fear. When I was talking to many of the tenants who were at our Ashland Youth Center resource fair last month for the Healthy Homes Month, and I had a translator, fortunately. About 50% of the people in the audience did not speak English, and the message that I got from them through the translator is we're terrified. Yes, we live in substandard conditions, but if we were to talk, we're sure we would be evicted, if not deported. And so I think that Oakland, because they do have a tenant protection package, they are about to move forward with a proactive rental inspection program. I hope, knock on wood, because I've been hearing that for 10 years now. They're in a better position to do something in terms of reducing childhood poisoning rates than I think anywhere else in the county. We're in a better position because of that.
And so, Director Brooks, is there a way for us to also kind of make sure that that message is getting to the Board of Supervisors and that they're understanding those differences and the impact? I mean, ultimately, we make certain decisions as part of this JPA. They obviously have a lot more jurisdiction in some of these areas, and that might be helpful information to share with them in terms of why there might be some issues in terms of rolling out the programming and where the differences may occur and the concerns.
I think that's a good point. I think One thing that may help with that is County Supervisor Nick Miley, who is a part of this JPA, has identified a person that will be his designee to attend these meetings, will be his alternate when he can't be here. And in fact, she's watching now on Zoom. We still need to get a formal letter identifying her as the designee. We do need to do what we do with all new directors as far as sitting down with them. Ladise is usually the lead on doing the JPA orientation so that that person will be familiar with the duties of the JPA before she actually attends one of these meetings in person. But I believe that will be part of the way that we get the message to the board of directors in terms of what's going on with regards to the lead settlement negotiations, as well as what is going on in terms of the atmosphere out there with regards to tenant fears.
To Director Bella's question though, should this JPA as its own entity representing the cities, the county has a seat that is not a voting member, right, of the county, of the JPA, should we not send our own letter on this issue? Like we can obviously advocate for supervisors, whether they're on the board or not, to support this, but for something as important as landlord-tenant issues, should we not work on our own communication with them?
I believe that is a decision that the board can make, and if you wish to use us as your messenger, we're happy to take whatever messages you give us, be them verbal or in writing, to the board.
Is that a request that you'd like to make?
Yeah, I think we can it could even just be a letter, really, a summative letter that kind of includes this information in terms of what you've collected, Director Brooks and the team has collected, to kind of say these are some of the barriers that we're seeing to actually utilizing these funds in an efficient and effective manner, and just give them the information. I would like to make that request because I think it is helpful for them to get it and to understand firsthand in terms of what we're seeing.
Is there a majority support to do that by a show of hands? Yeah, so there's agreement to do that. In terms of timing, is there anything, because I know we're going into like a recess month, is there anything timing wise that would make this time sensitive that they're taking action on?
I don't believe so.
So if we did this in September and had it sent to them in September, and we can report out about any feedback we received at the September meeting, that's still sufficient time.
Yes, and that would give me time to look at some other reports, like the report that's coming out today from the East Bay Housing Organizations on the situation with regards to tenants and evictions and rent increases. So that information could be included. By September, we may have met again with the Oakland-led settlement negotiations team as well, and whatever information we gather from that might also be presented to you so that you can take that into consideration too.
Is the JPA comfortable, and are you, as I'm about to put you on the spot, comfortable with the suggestion that I nominate Director Bella to work with staff on crafting a letter over the next month, and that can be signed by the chair on behalf of the board, and that if you all agree on the content of the letter, I'm going to be gone all of August, by the Labor Day, you can reach back out and we can either put it on the agenda for September, or the board can just decide to give the authority to have the letter signed and we can send it. Is everyone okay with that suggestion?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yes, are you okay with that nomination? Okay, so Director Bell has been nominated to represent the JPA directors in working with staff to craft a letter to the county containing the contents of what we've discussed here today. When it's drafted and completed, and you guys agree upon it, you can pass it to me to sign, to send off to everybody, and we'll report back on it in September. Okay.
Great, thank you.
Director Windcraft, or did you have a question? I'm sorry, Director Windcraft.
Can we, is it possible for us to see a draft of the letter?
Yeah, let's circulate the draft before it goes out. Let's do that, but to avoid a Brown Act issue, don't send it to everybody as one thing with everybody replying, because it's not in a meeting. So you can send it to everybody on a BCC list, and individual directors can give feedback to Director Brooks, who can then talk to Director Bella about the feedback received. Let's do it that way. Director Gaia.
Yes, so the information, I don't know, are you finished with your report?
Yes,
Oh, you are, okay. So can we have access to your presentation? The
Oh, yes.
slides, so we can at least have that information. And secondly, in terms of the city of Oakland, I'm glad the meetings are occurring. We have been wanting to schedule it to the council for public information. And so do you feel we're ready to present publicly in terms of what we have available, but most of all, what are we doing now and in the near future to correct the problem? We've been doing a lot of talking for many years. And, but I would like to work with you, and because I do have a request from my colleagues on the council to schedule the item. And, but I want to make sure that the county and the city are prepared to get the work done and not just create another plan.
Thank you for that question. A couple of thoughts come to mind. I know that the Healthy Havens Court group has met with the vice mayor discussing this issue. I know Frontline Catalyst and Fruitvale have you on their list of people that they want to talk to about these concerns. And as I mentioned, I sat in on a meeting where we had community folks talking to Council Member Fife. So there is a lot of interest in how the lead settlement money is going to be used, and will it be used to support a proactive mineral inspection program. I think in order to speak to the council, it might be a good idea to speak with Oakland's city staff that's on the negotiations team.
Right.
And I just happen to have the list that I'm going to give to you after the meeting, so you know who they are and where they're at.
Okay, so just to make it very clear that the other action is extremely helpful. If there are other cities nationally that perhaps already are way ahead of what we're trying to do to, compare their experience so we don't duplicate any mistakes they've made in the past. If you can provide those for us, so whether it's, back east or one in California, so we can review in terms of their success, so we can try to duplicate. Because otherwise we just continue. We're planning, more talking, we're all experts, but we haven't fixed one house yet. So anyways, I think if we get that, it's extremely helpful, because people are asking, well, whatever happened to the funds that are available? And publicly for the RAC, just want to make sure I don't use some of those funds to balance my deficit. So, because it happens quite often in government. It winds up in other general fund accounts where that money should go directly to the neighborhood to fix the problems that we have. So we look forward to working with you. But I just want to make sure we're on the same page to go to the public with it, okay? Thank you for the information.
Quite welcome.
Are there any other directors who have comments? Is there any public comment that we received for this item?
No public comment.
Okay, public comment is closed and the director's report is complete.
Yes.
We'll move to item 5, the monthly report.
Just like Mr. Brooks stated, June was very, very active. We had a lot of outreach activities, including all the social media activities that we conducted. We also did 3 trainings, and we trained 54 individuals. This was for RRP rule. I can provide you a list of your city staff that actually attended those trainings if you'd like. We're also continuing to promote the CSA services, training, in-home consultations, and the amount of paint kit supplies, and we need your help with promoting that service and relaying that information to your constituents. And I would like to maybe meet after this meeting later to further discuss outreach and activities or opportunities for us to connect with your city. I think that's okay.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on item 5? Seeing hearing none, is there any directors who have comments or questions on the monthly report? Seeing hearing none, we're at item 6, future agenda items. Are there any members who wish to request a future agenda item for this board? And staff, are there any future agenda items that you wish to notify us about that we should be thinking about? There's different from what we usually get.
No.
Okay. Item 7, announcements by members of the board of directors. Do any members who have an announcement? Director
Well, it's not an announcement, but like down the line or at the next meeting, if you can take a model city that has been through this process, so we can kind of compare what we need to do here in the county and the cities that we have, to move this along further. And that, if you could present to us and share with us a city that's already way ahead of us, so we can duplicate some of their work, whether it's legally or housing wise in the neighborhood, right?
Be happy to do that for the next meeting in September.
Thank you.
Okay.
That would be helpful.
Any others with comments or announcements? No, I just want to wish everybody a happy month off in August. And as part of a regular campaign I have here in the city, I'm going to use this 30 seconds to just say go outside. Going outside is very important for a number of reasons. It's extremely instrumental to promoting your own personal health and wellness. Science and research shows that just 20 minutes alone spent walking in nature or sitting in a park dramatically improves neural function in the brain. It also improves mood and cognition, and it's good for us to be more personally connected to the environment. It makes us more aware of how our human actions impact the natural resources around us. I will be taking going outside to a next level, as I always do. I will leave Saturday and I will hike 450 miles and sleep in the wilderness for 28 days. So when I come back, I will look very different. As is often the case, this is the last haircut I'm going to get. Until you see me, and my beard will be nasty, my skin will be all ragged, I will smell like total shit. That's a nice way of saying that. I always feel bad for whoever has to sit next to me on the bus when I come out of the woods. I just sound like I'm going to buy you a coffee because you have to sit next to me.
I think Miss Hardy wanted to join you.
Miss Hardy and I actually have a really good time out in the woods. We cooked a good bonfire, I think. I recognize that not everybody's gonna hike across the state of Michigan in the month of August. And so, I'll be hiking from the Mackinac Bridge to Grand Rapids this year. Because I continue my journey from North Dakota to Vermont every year. I do 400 miles. So I would just ask that when you have a moment and you're just kind of like, what am I doing? Don't sit in front of your desk inside in your house. If you're kind of like, I don't know what to do for the next 30 minutes, literally just go outside. It's good for you. All right, so with that,
question, Director Butters, staff, we always enjoy tracking you on social media, so we'll be able to do that again.
Yes, so I will post I wear a small GPS tracker for those who aren't familiar, and every 4 hours it turns on and it sends a ping to the satellite and it drops exactly where I'm at a map. You can zoom all the way in on the map, see what tree I'm next to. It's pretty cool. I pay for insurance through it and through Garmin, and so if something happens, the GPS tracker allows me to signal SOS to the National Park Service or the local 911 agency to come retrieve my carcass. Because I've assumed that I push the button slowly before I die. Last year I stepped in a porcupine last year. I got trapped in a swamp once. I've had some incidents. I had a bobcat destroy a rabbit outside my tent one evening. But I've also had frogs take shelter under my tent overhang during the rainstorm. I just had a whole little gaggle of baby frogs that were like, oh, this is cool. So I enjoy my experience. I eat wild blueberries and mostly nuts the entire time. I lose 20 pounds every August. So I eat ice cream the rest of the year. I'm gonna lose 20 pounds in August. So it's a good time for me. Yes, the link I will post on Twitter. It's the same link as last year, so if you have it, it's the same thing, but it will go live this weekend. And I won't start the hike for a few days. I'm actually gonna do a family reunion first half of next week in Michigan, and then they're gonna drive me up to the bridge to start. So in about just over a week, you can begin tracking my progress. Director Hardy.
I want to address something to you concerning your hiking and everything. Be careful because of ticks. And I just read an article, and where a little boy was seriously ill because of ticks. So you have to be careful. There's different kinds of ticks.
Yes.
I do a lot of reading.
Yeah,
I just read this the other day on my phone.
I have twice been bitten by ticks, once when I was 5, and once when I was 25, and thankfully did not get Lyme disease either time. So I'm very aware. I wear a natural repellent, and I am actually considering hammock hiking this year. So I've typically brought an ultralight tent. I'm an ultralight hiker. My bag is less than 16 pounds. That's what I live with for the month, is 16 pounds of materials. But I'm actually considering, I purchased a hammock to actually have no tent set up. I literally just hook it to 2 sides of the tree. There's a rain fly that hangs over, and I just climb into the hammock at night. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about sleeping in a hammock for about 30 days. But I'm packing it, and I'm probably gonna sleep in a hammock for a month.
Well, thank you for all that, we'll start praying for you.
So when I come back, it's like everything, I'm super zen when I come back. Like the September meeting, I'm just gonna be like, would you like to say something today? So with that, it's 10:13, we're adjourned.
I remember last year that video of you walking very fast because you thought there might be a bear somewhere.